Hey, how are you, everyone? Can you guys hear me okay? Hey, big boy. Hey, Toya. Hold on, there's someone else. Hey, Deanna, how are you? Hey, Sincerely Shava. Hi, Keisha. How are you? I hope you all are doing well today. I'm here at the office. Can you guys let me know if you can hear me? Just put a one in the chat so that I can make sure my AirPods are connected. Let's see. I'm finishing up some orders. 3 by 2, 10 by 10. Hello, Odessa. Okay, Toya, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, yep, I can hear you. Great. Okay, great. I'm glad. So I'm going to be printing up some orders here in the office for a little while. And I thought, well, why not jump on live? I'm challenging myself to go live more frequently. So So I said, well, let's get this thing started. Let's copy 3. So I'm sending over to 1, actually. I hope your day is going well. How's everyone doing out there? Happy Thursday. Let's see. I have to remember to turn the phone off. How many of these are we doing? There we go. Okay. So let's see. So we're sending 3 here. And then we're going to send the other 3 to this machine. So yes, I thought, why not come on live, say hello, see how everyone's doing. I'm probably going to hop on TikTok and Instagram as well. But it's been a while since I've been live on YouTube. And so I said, let me start here first, and then we'll go from there. Big boy, I enjoyed your live. It was really, really, really good information in that live. Alrighty, so printing there. Great. Now we're going to print up free-ish, which is going to go to 103. This one to be 10.5 wide. Trying to make sure I'm not missing anything. So let's see here. This one's going to copy 3 and 3 rows. Sweet. So yeah, so I have my printer set up. I'm actually refilling inks in one of my printers, so I'm going to be doing that while we're on here. I can find a funnel. Make sure everything is getting started. Let's see. So I'm going live on my phone, which is like so different. For YouTube, usually I use my computer, but I also love my phone, just the convenience of being able to pop my phone on and get it going. I shut my machines down not too long ago and cleaned them, did all that stuff. I like to do that like midday if I've been running them all day. I like to shut them down, shake up my inks again, and get going. Run my print head cleanings, nozzle checks, all that good stuff. All right. It's like, wait a minute, why hasn't that one started printing yet? It's going now. Refill those. Make sure that they actually sent 3 copies to each. And sent 2. Okay, so we'll send 1 more of the breaking the chains here. 3. Okay, I'll send 1 more. So as you can see, that's the 7890. I get a lot of questions about what printers do I have. And so I have the Epson, kind of turn you guys a little bit so you can kind of see them. Yeah, they see these two. So I have Epson 7890s that are converted for direct to film printing. That's one of the common questions I get. I had someone that asked recently, I can't remember the name, so please forgive me, but someone asked regarding software. And so, what type of software is needed for which printer? And so, that's typically, it depends on what type of printer you actually have. So, it's not just to put my phone on airplane mode next time. My phone literally has not rang the entire time I've been in this office, and all of a sudden I hop on live, and now it's like everyone wants to call. So, so yes. So someone asked about software. What software should they buy? And so my answer to that was it depends on what type of printer you're purchasing, right? So like I use AcroRip software. However, and I have AcroRip 10, but that's not compatible with all printers. So like I know the 9800, the Epson 9800, I know you have to use, I believe it's CatLink that's compatible with that particular one. But yeah, it totally depends on what printer you have. Alrighty, so here's our first print. And now I'm just applying the adhesive. If you kind of want to see that process, the very last live that I did on the channel, I had a camera that was actually focused right over my adhesive powder station. And then once I'm going to flip you guys a little bit, turn you to the side. But once I actually get that adhesive powder going, I then place it on my conveyor dryer. Right now, I don't have a lot of prints to do for this evening, so I'm not running it too high. But the cool thing about this dryer is that it's really a function of like how high you have your actual heating element, what actual heat number you're placing it on, and then of course the speed of the belt. So right now I don't need to run a lot relatively quickly. So I have my belt kind of like at a 9-10, somewhere in between there. And we're just gonna run it that way. And then it comes out on the other end, it's completely done and ready to go, completely cured. I'm gonna turn you guys a little bit here. All right. Almost done. I'm also filling ink simultaneously, so my apologies if I'm going off the camera. I'm trying to think of another question. Do any of you have questions out there? Another popular one that I've received a lot of, well, I don't even know that it's a question. It's more so a comment, and that's people are like, why are you even doing direct to film printing? Like, it just seems like too much work, way too much maintenance. Like, why even get interested in that? Like, why are you even interested in continuing to run these printers? And honestly, for me, I've developed my own system for my maintenance. And so at night, I know that I'm shutting down my machines. I'm going to flush my flushing box, which I have a video on that as well. I know that I'm going to flush my flushing box. You know, I'm going to do all of the things, clean underneath my print head, all that good stuff, right? And I know that I have to do it. And so I've just developed a system that works for me, the number of printers that I have. And so I don't even think of it as like as difficult. It's really not difficult once you kind of get to know your printer and get comfortable. Sorry for the thumping, guys. I'm just removing the excess adhesive. But once you get to know your printer and you develop your own system, it becomes like second nature. It's just like maintaining your sublimation printer. Well, maybe a little bit more intricate, but you know, we still have to maintain all of our equipment. That's the moral of this story. And so now I don't even think about it like it's not like a daunting task to me. But what I do say is it is a lot of maintenance if you can't keep your printer running, it can become a little tedious. And if I could probably see how you get a little annoyed with it, but you have to keep these printers running. I think that's probably the biggest piece of advice that I give anyone that reaches out and asks, thinking about getting into direct to film printing. Make sure you have the business to actually support it. So whether it's doing your t-shirts or if it's printing transfers for other businesses, just make sure that you have the business for it, because as long as you keep them running, I feel like, especially these wide format printers, they really, honestly, they're so easy. Once you keep them running, they're happy. But the minute you stop running them, that's when they're unhappy. So that would be my biggest piece of advice, because that's another question that I get a lot of times, either here on YouTube or even over on Instagram. Is just regarding, number one, what's the best printer? And I'm thinking about getting into direct to film printing. What are your thoughts? And those really are my thoughts. I don't know that there's a best printer. It depends on what your needs are, honestly. So hopefully I haven't. There we go. That machine sure is pretty. Thank you, big boy. Can you print on white vinyl? So no, I don't print on white vinyl. This is direct to film printing, and so you may be thinking about an eco solvent printer. It's way more convenient than HTV. I want to get into DTF next. You know what? I love my DTF printer. I do. I do. So I might be a little biased because I do. I love it. I love it for its applications. Yesterday when I was on live over on, I'm trying to think, was it TikTok or Instagram where we had that conversation? Because I was live on both yesterday. I think it was Instagram. And someone asked if I thought, what were my thoughts on eco solvent versus DTF? And it's kind of the same thought process or the same feelings that I have about other print methods. It's just another method. And so it really depends on what you're using it for. So each machine has its pros and it has its cons. And one of the biggest things is using that machine kind of where it shines. So for me, eco solvent, because based on the feedback that I've received from customers that have tried like my direct to film transfers versus an eco solvent transfer, is the feel. The feel is much different. And so I hope I'm not seeing someone's comments, but the feel is different. And so I don't think that eco solvent transfers for like heat applications is really where that printer truly shines. I think it shines when it comes to like sticker applications, and in addition to that, like a cold vinyl. So like not a cold vinyl, but like a permanent vinyl that you're putting on like a cup or items like that. I think that's where the eco solvent printers, they truly shine, honestly. But I totally would not trade in my printers for anything. I love the feel of them. I don't really have any real issues. But the biggest thing is, I sometimes get people that are just looking to use it a few times a month for a few t-shirts. I wouldn't suggest it. There is maintenance, and you're going to have to maintain it whether you're running it or not. And so I don't suggest it. But if you have the business for it, I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm actually kind of in the process of trying to figure out how I can kind of grow. I want to grow the t-shirt sector of my business now that I've kind of gotten a handle of the transfers. But the problem is my machines are always running for transfers. Can you put DTF on denim? You absolutely can. It can be applied to 100% cotton, 100% polyester, cotton poly blends, nylon. I've seen it applied to so many different things. Canvas, tote bags. Not the only the canvas ones though. There's another one. I think it's like called poly. What is it? It's a blend. Those are not the best because they can't really take high heat. And so I would caution you against that, but like a canvas tote bag, perfectly fine. And so here I am just applying. There we go. But yeah, so I don't think that eco solvent is a bad thing either. I think it shines in a different space than DTF. That's all. Okay, so I need one more of this one to go out. That's a 10 by 10. Like that one. And that one's done. Once I get the third one. Let's see here. Sabrina, were you dissatisfied with your P800? That's another question that I get a lot of times regarding the upgrades, because you guys have seen it. I've upgraded from a P800. That's where I started. And I was so proud of my little P800. I was ready to get after my t-shirts. And then I transitioned to transfers. And so when I made that transition to transfers, I quickly realized that the P800 just wasn't the right machine for me. And why do I say that? Well, I needed something that was a lot faster, that had that automatic cut feature. Those little things were ways that I was shaving time off of how quickly I was able to process transfers. So no, I didn't have a problem with the P800. I actually loved it. And I tried to hold on to it for as long as I could. But once I made that transition to the 7800, it was just, I forgot all about the P800, and I was like, oh, I want another 78. I think it was a 7880 that I went to next. And I loved it. I loved it because it was a wide format. So the P800, for those of you that don't know, it was a 17-inch wide printer. And I loved it, but it's more of a desktop style printer versus this printer, which is considered like a more commercial wide format 24-inch Epson printer. Love these things. But the 7800, the 7880, I keep calling it 7800. 7880, while it was, a great upgrade in the beginning as my business kind of started to continue to increase in, the number of transfers I was selling, I realized like I need something faster. Hi, Making with Marilyn. How are you? And so I realized I needed something a lot faster. And so that's when I made the transition to the 7890s. And that's where I've been. I'm really pleased with the way that they run. I haven't had any major hiccups with them. I mean, of course, you have to troubleshoot little things here and there, like, oh, I may need to clean underneath the print head midday, or, something like that. But for the most part, they run so smoothly. The speed is really wonderful. I love it. I love the fact that if I have a bunch of pocket prints, I can throw on a 24-inch roll. Like right now, this is actually a 12, or it's not really a 12, it's like 11.75-inch roll. But I can go, I can use any of the sizes from a 12-inch, a 13-inch, a 17, and even a 24. So I love it for that, you know. But you're very welcome. You're very welcome. I don't mind answering questions. And that's one of the reasons why. Okay, you can hear me fine. Great. That's one of the reasons why I am. And thank you guys so much for the thumbs up. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you just for hanging out with me. But that's one of the reasons why I'm trying to start going live more frequently. And so for the next couple of weeks here, I'm challenging myself to hop on at least once a day. And it gives me that I can give you those really, quick answers, but not really quick, but I can kind of go a little bit more in depth than I do sometimes when I'm typing out my responses. And so, yeah. So I'm glad you were here and that you had a question to ask. I appreciate it. But yeah, I love these. Love them. I don't see myself, I don't really see myself venturing too far away from these machines. So Let's see. Make sure I didn't miss anyone. If I happen to miss your comment, my apologies. I'm actually on my phone, and so I'm learning what live looks like on my phone versus the computer. Yeah, that looks good. Alrighty. So we're going to apply our adhesive powder. Next one, and then let's get the other one up and going. Let's see. We need two of those, and then use the dimensions 8 by 8. Okay. I'm going to copy one. Let's get this print going before 2 copies. My apologies if you hear the tapping. I'm trying to get off all of the excess adhesive powder. Just makes it a lot better when it comes time to press these. Okay. So that's going to print that. Okay, let me make sure I haven't missed anything. Hey, Educated Natural, how are you? Thank you for joining. Okay, let's see. This one needs to be a 9 by 6. So let's make sure this is ready to go. Let's send this one to copy 3. How many? 3. Okay, so get those going. So yeah, so I love these printers. I absolutely do. I really don't have really any major complaints about them, really. I think another question I've received is, let me think, what was it regarding? Oh, supplies, consumables, how much I use. That's kind of, I could definitely tell you how much I'm using, but it really depends on how many transfers you're really running. So, in the beginning, when I had the P800, it was really easy to run just with I could go get away with maybe 2 to 3 2-pound bags of adhesive powder, one set of ink because I was only filling one machine. So one set of ink for me, like per machine, I like to have, all the colors. So the cyan, the magenta, the yellow. And then I have 4, oh, and also your black. And I have 2 black chambers. There's one photo black, one matte black. So I have to fill both of those. And then I really like to have about 3 liters of white per machine because I have 4 different cartridges that I'm filling. And my cartridges are 700 milliliters per cartridge. So that's what I run now times 3. That's kind of what I keep on hand now. Before, it was just one set for one printer. Now I try and keep on hand enough to really kind of have a set for each and then a standby. And then as far as like adhesive powder, I typically buy in bulk. So I think it's like, I don't know, a 40 or 50-pound bag of adhesive powder. And that keeps me from ordering frequently, and it kind of cuts down on the cost, the total cost of it, right? Oh, it's like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Okay, it's good. Let me see. I want to make sure I'm not missing anyone here. Okay. So yeah, so that's kind of what I'm running now. Film wise, I try and keep at least one 24-inch roll on hand. Sometimes that may change and become like 2 or 3, depending on what kind of jobs I'm doing at the time. But I really love these little 12-inch rolls because a lot of times I can run an image. I don't have to do a lot of trimming once once it actually comes off the machine. And so I love those. So I keep lots of those on hand. And then a few 13s, just in case like an image, customer wants an image to be 12 inches exactly. These rolls won't actually work. So keep that in mind when you're getting into direct to film. If you're using a roll feeder, the 12-inch rolls, for whatever reason, are not actually 12 inches. They're like 11.75, 7075. So keep that in mind. But yeah, that's kind of what I run now. And in the beginning, it wasn't that much. And so, I wouldn't suggest keeping a lot of inventory on hand, kind of get a feel for what's going on. And like I said, once again, it also depends on how you're using the machine. So now I'm trying to figure out, well, what am I going to do to really kind of get the t-shirt part of my business growing? I don't know, because I keep these printers really kind of running throughout the day. So when I have t-shirt orders now, I find myself kind of juggling a little bit just to figure out, I'll try and take one machine and run one set of t-shirts on that one, but it gets to be a bit much. Or sometimes like I'll stay after, or my husband will stay after and run our transfers. Like once we've gotten out our transfer orders for the day, if I have a t-shirt order that's coming up, we'll stay after, run those transfers so that, first thing in the morning we have them going. But if I'm trying to scale that portion, I know that I'm going to have to figure something out there. So I'm not sure. I'm really not sure, but we're going to figure it out. Okay, so that one's done. Let's see. Is it printing? Oh, I needed one more. I must have only sent one to the printer. Oh, another question I get asked a lot is regarding like how I actually cure my transfers. So I showed you guys earlier what I have now, which is the conveyor dryer by Bastex. But when I first started, I just had a double door convection oven. So that's what I used when I first started. It cured my transfers just fine. Didn't have any issues. But once again, when I was trying to kind of shave off time in my processing times and things of that nature, just the opening and closing of the doors as you're opening, throwing a transfer in, closing it back. I just realized if I got a conveyor, I could kind of shave off some of that time and, decrease my processing time. So that's when I made the decision to transition to the conveyor. And I love it. I absolutely love that thing. It's like so amazing. Now I'm thinking I want a larger conveyor. But then it's like, okay, where's that gonna go? I feel like I filled up this room. So so it's a process of trying to work it all out and figure out what works where. But yeah, love it. I love the process of it. 1, 2, 3 of these. That one's done. It's her order. Let me see. Did I miss anything? Let me make sure. Okay, sorry about that. I missed your things. I do customs. Peace, love, and positive energy to everyone. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Am I able to switch the brand of ink between are you transitioning with your DTF printer from one brand to another? You absolutely can, but you kind of want to flush out just because, I don't know. So maybe it's me and just being a little, I'm kind of a little careful when it comes to, if you're transitioning from one ink to another. So I like to flush my machines before I start. If I'm starting like a new, and I mean, it can't just be for one site. Like I wouldn't just buy one set. I would just have to continue to run that for a while. But I would suggest you just be careful with that because you don't know, like switching from one brand to another, what the actual components of that ink may be. Although it all, it's all working the same way. I'm always afraid of like interactions and things like that. So whenever I've switched, I've kind of flushed my machine and then kind of started with a nice clean slate. Any thoughts on the Epson 4880? Hold on, I missed the second part of that. Someone offered one for sale. Okay, Mika, so for the 4880, is it already converted for direct to film printing, or is it just the printer and you'll have to convert it yourself? Because I have a few tips if you're going to be buying a printer that hasn't been converted, ways that you can kind of double check. And also Big Boy Prints here in the chat. That's someone else that is an amazing resource. He has a Facebook group. And so I would suggest if you're buying one that hasn't been converted, you kind of go through the process of making sure that you're getting an actual printer with a good print head and things of that nature. So keep that in mind if you are interested in purchasing from someone else. If it's already converted, okay, great. Okay, it's already converted. Yeah. So if are you selling transfers? Are you doing teas? How many are you running? If you're adding to your fleet of printers, I say go for it. And you know the person, you feel like it's a trusted person. I would say go for it. If you really, if you know that person and you trust the products that they produce. One of the things, if you're doing transfers, I tell people to invest in the largest printer that you can afford. And one of the things that, hey Daphne, how are you? One of the things that I find um, extremely valuable and what I've learned kind of on this journey of really just figuring out what works and what doesn't work, right? The more printers you have, the more transfers, the more t-shirts, whatever you're doing, the more of that you can actually do. Hey, how are you, Miss Holland? How are you? So I just say be mindful of that. I love adding printers, as you can see, because ultimately it just helps you in your business. But as long as he's a trusted person, because I was going to get into like warranties on the print heads and you name it. But as long as you know him, that makes me feel a little bit better. So I was going to say, if you don't know him, then I suggest you go ahead and find Big Boy Prince over here and see what you can do. But as long as you know them, I feel much better. Hi, great information. Hey, Stephanie, how are you? Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, that makes me feel a lot better. You're welcome, Mika. You're very welcome. Okay, so we printed the second one of that. How many do we want of the seepage? It's 3. I think I only saw 2. Let's make sure. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Okay, we need one more there. I'm gonna pass these up. One more. There we go. But yeah, I love them. I love them. As long as you care for your printers, they will care for you. Like I said, there's a learning curve, but once you get comfortable and you get to know your machine, the rest is like history, honestly. You learn how to kind of troubleshoot some of the issues. So for me, I quickly learned that although, whoever you purchase from, it really depends on their skill set as well. So someone that actually prints and uses the printers, they're able to speak to a lot of kind of the issues that you know, you can kind of encounter as you're running these printers. But if the company they're not really actively running them and kind of encountering some of the issues that you can, you can experience, it's really, really difficult. And so it's important for you to learn your machine. so that you don't have to depend on, knowledge from maybe someone that isn't as knowledgeable when it comes to running the machines. So, and that was something that I learned pretty quickly, was that I better learn how to navigate these myself. Hey, sweethearts, how are you? Thank you for joining. Okay, so that's the last one for this order. So, yes, 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 yes. Mm-hmm. I'll print out some more orders, see how many I can get done for the night. But yeah, so I hope I answered all of your questions. Hey, hey, hey. Oh, I didn't see you earlier. I'm sorry about that. Sweet Arts Custom Creations. But how are you guys doing on this Thursday evening? I'm trying to get as much done this evening as I can because I'm ready to get back filming my content and kind of getting that going here over on YouTube because I do get a lot of questions. I have a lot of updates and things that I've learned, and I want to be able to share that so that the things that I've kind of encountered, like switching printers, for instance. If you can avoid some of the mistakes that I made and some of the things that I've learned along the way, if you can use that just to kind of catapult your journey, then that's what it's for. So hey, 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 let's see. Hey, Kay, how are you? Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I just love hearing that you guys find value in what I have to offer. I did take some time, which is why I stopped posting the videos because it's great to say in the beginning, like, this is an amazing process. I love it. It's the best thing ever, right? But I wanted to get out of that honeymoon phase and really work with these printers just to make sure that I'm really telling you that this is something that I think could really change your business. So I kind of took a step back because I said I don't want to keep talking about this, and I'm still in the process of really just learning my machines, and I want to see some more of the results to be able to really give you good data. Like, is this really worth it? You know, I'm just, I didn't want to, feed into a hype. Like, I'm not into that. And so now I'm ready to come back and I'm ready to share. And so I said, part of that is going to include me going live. I'm challenging myself to go live every day for the next couple of weeks. So let's see here. Oh, Deanna, I'm sorry. Do you have a favorite thing that you made where you look back and it's shocking? Yes, I do. I do. So, for those of you that don't know, when I first started my business in 2017, I did glitter tumblers and water bottles. And still to this day, I made myself like this Wonder Woman esque water bottle that I would take with me to work. For those of you that don't know, I'm a registered nurse by profession. And so I would take my water bottle. I realized we all kind of had similar water bottles. And so um, one incident of someone drinking out of someone else's water bottle, I said, you know what? I'm adding some glitter, some vinyl, and some resin to this water bottle. So listen, you can grab this Wonder Woman bottle if you want to, but then I'm going to know it's intentional. So, that is that one piece every time, because I still use it to this day. Every time I grab it, I'm just like, I can't believe I made this. Because I love glitter, like love glitter. So when I made the decision to stop making those, especially once I got into DTF, adhesive powder, you guys know, you've seen, I started in a spare bedroom in my home. And so DTF powder and resin, spinning bottles with resin on them, they just don't mix. And so I stopped. I literally stopped, but it hurt my spirit just to stop at that time. But I would not get rid of my glitter. That's how much I love it. So, so that is that one thing that I absolutely, every time I grab it, I just look at it like, I love this. So that's that one thing, Deanna. What do you have your printers sitting on? And am I having a hard time on choosing? Oh, and I'm having a hard time on choosing which printer to go with. So it is. It's a little bit difficult. Number one, to answer the first part of your question, the printers are sitting on stands that they actually come with. So, you know, when these were first manufactured with Epson, they came with the stands. And so they're wheeled stands that are sitting underneath the printers. And it's really nice because when I'm cleaning the room, if I need to move them around, or like if I want to rearrange them, it's super easy because the printers are extremely heavy, like extremely heavy. So they're on those stands. It is a little bit difficult to figure out which printer to start with. And you've seen that in my journey that I've shared here on YouTube, where earlier we were talking about it. I started with the P800, and now these are 7890s. So I went from a P800 to a 7880 to 7890s. And so a lot of it really depends on what you plan on doing with that printer. What kind of business do you have? And start to think about growth, like growth over time, not just you in the moment. Where do you kind of project your business going once you make that investment into that printer? And so I would say the biggest piece of advice, which sometimes it's like, I wish I'm kind of talking to me, and I wish I could have given myself this advice, was to invest in the largest printer that you can afford, that fits your business. If you have the business to do it, invest in the largest printer you can really afford. And that's kind of like really what I would tell myself about a lot of the things that I bought in my business. When I purchased the P800, I was looking at the 7880. And so the 7880 made it to my cart first. And I said, that's too much printer. I don't need that much printer. I'm just going to go P800. So, I feel like, was it like less than a month later? Maybe a little bit over a month later, I was upgraded to the 7880. So learn from my mistakes. Think about what you're actually planning on doing with your business. Are you looking to grow your t-shirt business? How many t-shirts are you producing now? What are you kind of projecting a few months out, even a year? I would really say a year out, if I'm being honest. And really, so that you have a clear vision of that, I would say at least look at where you are and where you're kind of headed. And then if you're looking to get into transfers, the wide formats is where it's at when it comes to transfers, because you're able to run so many more transfers than you can even on the desktop. The desktop printers are great, but they do take a little bit longer. And so if you're going to be doing volume, you are trying to shave off as much time as possible. The time that it takes you to print, cure, powder, and then cure, you're trying to shave down as much time and seconds per transfer add up over time. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind when you're making your decision. I'm in school for LPN. Oh, wow. Congratulations, Mika. That's amazing. That's really good. Yeah, I was just I had to go because, I still keep all my credentials up to date because I definitely have been feeling the nursing bug lately. And I think that's why I'm like, I really want to manifest an employee that can be here, so I'm manifesting it. It's going to happen, right? I'm manifesting it. I'm preparing for it. I'm trying to prepare my processes. So when I get that employee, I'm going to be ready to go. But it's something that I never want to give up. And so I've really been feeling like this little itch to like just maybe one or two shifts here and there, That's so amazing. I love that. And I'm sure you can look back and see the growth. Congratulations on your field. Thank you so much. I do. I see the growth. I really, really, really do. I see the growth. I see, where I could have potentially made better decisions, but it was all a process, right? And so even if I went through that process just to be able to share with you guys so that you potentially could learn from my mistakes, not make the same mistakes, then I'm all about that. Like, that is what I'm all about. And so I'm just going to chalk it up as learning experiences. I was the one that just kind of went out there and was like, okay, I'm accepting. I'm not afraid to make mistakes. I'm not even afraid of failure. That was something that in the beginning was like so crippling for me. I was always like, okay, I really want to go full force, but like the security of working in nursing, like, I don't know. I'll wait for the perfect time. And so what I realized is there's no such thing as a perfect time. Um, the time is now. And so that's kind of where I resonate from. Do I always get it right? No, I don't. But I learn, I quickly recover, and I figure out how I can improve a process or how I could have improved in the future. And that's what I want to start conveying in my videos, or just things that I'm learning over time. So you know, can't count them as a loss. It's definitely a learning experience. Would you go back to making tumblers? I've actually thought about it because now I have the space to, and so I've definitely thought about it. It's all of my glitter is in the front part of my shop, and so I've been trying to figure out, like, can I set up an area that, number one, I know I don't have to worry about the adhesive counter because it stays in this room, but but one of the biggest things has just been making sure that I have the time for it. I even have like the sublimation tumblers, and I'm just like, I want to get back to it. I love glitter. I love, my drinkware to be fancy and cute. And so, because I love it, I also had a lot of people that, a lot of customers that loved it as well. And so they still to this day are like, are you back to making tumblers? I've even thought about maybe teaching classes on how to do it because it still scratched that itch for me. But I wouldn't necessarily be, the one that's out there selling them. I just want to show you how to use the glitter. Like, it's fun, it's beautiful, it looks nice. The finished product is like amazing. So so I've been playing around with it. I kid you not. And that's why I won't get rid of it. Thank you, Deanna, for the congratulations. YouTube is something that I just didn't see myself getting into. Just didn't see myself getting into it at all. So we're gonna talk about that in a minute. Do you see your business adding direct to garment? There is a part of me that wonders if that would be the solution, because I don't know if you were here earlier, but I was just sharing, when I get t-shirt orders now, it's trying to figure out when's the best time for me to run the transfers for the t-shirt orders. And because these printers are typically like, this is the end of the day technically, in the shop, and so this would be the time when sometimes I have to run, especially if it's a lot of transfers that I'm running. This is the time that I do it. And so I have been thinking about ways to figure out, because I do plan on scaling. I want to start reaching out to a lot of other small businesses, but I want to make sure that I have a process that works where I don't feel like, oh my God. Thank you, Daphne. Thank you. I appreciate all of you for hitting that thumbs up button. That's amazing. So, George, to answer your question, I do see myself kind of moving into either a DTG or a dedicated machine that is only for t-shirts. So, yeah, I definitely have. You are amazing at it. Oh, thank you, Danielle. How are you? You got this. Just continue to ask God to lead you in every way, anyway. Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, it's only through Him that I am here, okay? I'm just like, listen, you tell me where to go, I'm going. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. But YouTube is just something that I really honestly didn't really see myself getting into YouTube. And it was through TikTok that I actually, started a YouTube channel. I have a DTG printer. It's perfect in my shop. You would have to consider making time to pre-treat your garments. Yes, I've definitely been looking into that as well. And just the process. So before getting into DTF, I initially thought I would do like white toner printer. That was what I thought it was, right? So I tried some transfers, and so Heat Press Nation is here in California, and so their shop used to be like, they had like this area where you could actually go in and you could see the different pieces of equipment that they have, and yes, thank you, Danielle. That's what I was just telling them. I'm like, yes, I've kind of made a commitment to myself to get it going. But I tried white toner transfers. Thank you for popping on, Danielle. I really appreciate it. and I didn't really like them. And so then I went back to the drawing board and I thought, okay, DTG. At the time, I was in my home though, so I couldn't really all those pieces. It wasn't going to work in the space that I was in. And so now that I'm here in outside of my home and I have more space, it's definitely something that I've kind of kept in the back burner. And so when I talk about like growing the t-shirt sector, because I kind of dialed it down, but I just noticed every time I get a t-shirt order, it just feels like a little bit of chaos. And so I think the solution would be I need a dedicated machine. So whether it's DTG or if it's another printer, I need a dedicated machine to really kind of get that portion of my business going. So yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you. I appreciate it. So yes, I am doing it. So I've committed to doing, so I said a few weeks, but really it's quite a few weeks. But I'm trying to downplay it so that I don't, what's the best way to eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And so my commitment is to come on live for the next 100 days, every day, even if it's just for 20 minutes. I can spare 20 minutes. I'm sure I can find 20 minutes out of my day when I can come in and just check in with you guys, answer questions live. I prefer to be live actually versus filming videos because I just feel like even when I go to answer comments, it's so much easier to answer your comments live because I can give you the full rundown. Whether you want the long explanation or not, I can give you the full rundown on my thoughts on whatever you're asking. So I can hardly wait until I'm up and consistent so I can order prints from you. I appreciate you, first of all, because support. Support comes in many forms. And so support for me is like having a conversation, hopping on a live, always bringing positivity. That's support to me. So I appreciate you for always just being around. Like, I don't care if it's Instagram, if it's TikTok, now YouTube, you are all over the place. I love it. So I really appreciate you guys just for joining. And so I hope to be able to show you different things with DTF, and you'll just kind of see what I'm doing day to day. Because every day can be a little bit different. And so I want to show that journey. I want to talk about some of the things that I've encountered now that I've moved into a commercial space, what that's feeling like, where I'm going next, and so yeah, I want to share all the things. Thank you, Danielle. I appreciate you so much. This is fun. You're so pleasant to watch. Thank you. So I'm hoping, I know I have some ideas for I have new transfers that are launching for the site. So tomorrow I'll probably come on and be, printing those up and things of that nature. I have some more orders to do. And so I'm going to package these up. But yeah, I want to share my journey. And, if there's anything that you want me to show during a live, feel free to send me a message, leave a comment underneath the live if that's what you want to do. Whatever's easiest. If you want to send me a message on Instagram, wherever it's easiest for you to leave a message, feel free to leave me a message and we can set up a live to do that. I just want to share my journey because it's been a cool ride. I mean, yes, I've had, it's the ebbs and flows of business, day-to-day business, right? But it's been a really, really cool ride. And I've just loved the fact that I've been able to find my community. And so the fact that you guys hop on live, when I come on live, I'm not even announcing that I'm coming on live. And there's people that show up. I appreciate it. And you have questions and I'm able to answer them. And if I don't know the answer, I'll tell you, I don't know the answer, but I'm sure I can find a resource, that can answer that for you. So I appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. I think I'm going to head over to TikTok and Instagram because I also have to go live over there as well. And so over there, I'll probably be packing orders or something of that nature. But I appreciate you guys so much for being here with me today. I appreciate the likes. Thank you for your amazing questions. Don't forget, if you have any suggestions for what you want to see in an upcoming live, go ahead, leave it in the comments. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.